of West Virginia, people still speak of a figure that doesn't walk the ground, it moves above it. A shape with wings wide enough to darken the trees below. Eyes that glow a deep red, even in the stillness of night. Long before anyone called it the Mothman, the region already whispered about something watching the skies. These small reports grew into one of America's most persistent modern legends. People in a small town called Point Pleasant have passed down the same description for decades. A tall figure with wings, broad-shouldered, and eyes that shine a deep, unmistakable red. It is one of the most recognized modern folklore creatures in America, a presence that appeared during a short stretch of time, then vanished as suddenly as it arrived. Reports began in the mid-1960s. Point Pleasant was quiet, surrounded by forests and long stretches of rural road, and bordered by an abandoned military explosives site that locals simply called the TNT area. It was here, among old concrete bunkers and empty pathways, that people claimed to see something moving above the treetops, a shape too large to be a bird, gliding smoothly, watching from a distance. Different witnesses, on different nights, described nearly identical features, and that consistency pushed the story far beyond ordinary misidentification. One of the earliest accounts came from 5 grave diggers in a nearby town called Clendenin, who saw a dark figure sweep over the trees as they worked. Another came from 2 volunteer firefighters who described a large bird with red eyes, but admitted it didn't match anything they knew. Each sighting added weight to the next. Those who said they saw the creature rarely added dramatic details. Most described a figure roughly the height of a man, but with wings that stretched wider than anything common to the region. The eyes were always mentioned, red, bright enough to be noticed before headlights or flashlights touched them. Some people spoke of a strange sensation before the sighting, as if pressure built in the air, or as though they were being observed long before they realized it. For 13 months, sightings continued across the area, in fields, on isolated roads, near the river, and most often around the remnants of the old TNT facility. None of the accounts involved harm or interaction. The creature never approached people directly or delivered any kind of message. It simply appeared, was seen, and disappeared again. One of the most documented reports came from the Scarberry and Millette couples, who described being followed by a winged figure at high speeds on an empty highway. Their story made headlines and sparked dozens of new reports within days. Everything changed in December of 1967. During evening rush hour, the Silver Bridge, which connected Point Pleasant to Gallipolis, suddenly collapsed. 46 people lost their lives. It was a devastating moment for the region. Because so many sightings had occurred in the months leading up to the disaster, the story shifted. People began to connect the 2 events, wondering if the winged figure had been a warning, a sign, or some kind of omen. Whether that belief came from fear, grief, coincidence, or memory trying to make sense of disaster, no one can say for sure. But after the collapse, the sightings stopped almost completely, and that silence is what gave the legend its lasting shape. Researchers, wildlife experts, and investigators offered explanations: cranes, owls, aircraft, stress, and media influence, but none fully matched the reported details. Folklorists noted that the pattern resembled a familiar cultural motif, a mysterious figure appearing during uncertain times, interpreted differently depending on who witnessed it. In this case, the creature moved from a strange presence in the woods to something symbolically tied to a tragedy the community would never forget. Today, Point Pleasant has embraced the legend. The town hosts a Mothman festival, displays eyewitness accounts, and preserves artifacts from the 1960s wave of sightings. Over time, the story reached far beyond West Virginia, inspiring books like The Mothman Prophecies, and even a 2002 film adaptation that introduced the legend to a wider audience. experience. The creature stands not only as folklore, but as part of the town's history, a reminder of an era marked by curiosity, fear, and unanswered questions. Whether the Mothman was ever real, misidentified, or imagined, the legend continues to endure. And for many, that endurance is what makes the story matter. A figure that appeared for one brief moment in time, then faded, leaving behind a mystery that refuses to disappear. This is Obsidian Murmurs, Scary Folklore. Subscribe and explore another legend.